So I will shortly tell something about our international work and our history. So first steps of Finnish Federation of Graduate Women. As you may know, the first international conference of graduate women was held in London 1920, in summer 1920. By coincidence, a Finnish teacher called Karin Rosenius was visiting London at the same time, and she met participants of this conference because she was staying in the same building where these also some of the members of this conference were located. And then they spoke about the subject together. Rosenius was then later contacted by International Federation of University Women, which was founded, and she was asked to form an association for university women also in Finland. So Rosenius proposed to this to other educated Finnish ladies in spring 1921. First meeting of Finnish association was held in 1921, and it first started as a non-registered association. But then the first documented meeting was with minutes was held on May 11th, 1922, which we now have defined our starting point, our federation starting point. So then Finnish Federation was officially formed. We automatically started to look at the international works. So Finnish Federation was they decided to send the representative to international conference, which was held in Paris, spring 1922. And Karin Rosenius was representing Finland, and then Finnish Federation was approved to be member of FFGW in Paris 22. So then our federation's history as a member of FFGW, which was then renamed to be Graduate Women International later. So Finnish Federation participated quite actively in international conferences in 1920s and 30s, but then during the Second World War, the activities of Finnish Federation were quite low profile. Of course, if you know the history, there are certain reasons for that. But then Finnish Federation was invited back to International Federation after the war in 1945. And we continued our active work, and actually the 13th conference of this International Federation was held in Helsinki in 1959. It was quite big success. There were 600 visitors from abroad and 200 visitors from Finland, so all over Finland. All arrangements were organized by volunteers or local associations, and the conference was a very great success, and Finnish organizers received a lot of positive feedback for the arrangements. There was one which I noticed from the history book that in Finnish addition to the conference program was home hospitality. So that meant that conference guests were actually invited to homes of Finnish members. So they stayed in the homes, and that was very nice thing. People appreciated a lot that they get to know Finnish home way of living at homes. Then work continued, and actually we also have our international federation has also had one Finnish female as president. So Riitta-Liisa Karvetti, that she was elected to president for a period in 1986-1989. She had already been in multiple administrative positions in FFGW since 1922. And before the president election, she was the first deputy president. And during her season, we organized, or Finnish Federation organized, another international conference in 1989. That was even bigger than the earlier 30 years ago. So 1,000 participants from 45 countries. And again, we had another addition in the conference program. So actually there were husbands or the conference guests visiting also, and it was a special program organized to husbands, so they get to know Finnish industry and military service, and that was also appreciated. Unfortunately, there have been lots of discussion during the history about the membership fee, which Finnish Federation kept thinking that it was too high, and finally, after lots of conversations, and we decided to resign from international organization in 2018. Our CIR and CEO are still continuing to be the personal members, so that we want to keep in touch to international federation still and continue some kind of connections. So I think that has been quite active still, even though our own federation is not the member anymore. Related to University Women of Europe, we have also been quite long the member of University Women of Europe. That organization was formed in the beginning of 1980s, and we started to be a member since the beginning. Finnish Federation also resigned from UWE 1991, but we returned back as a member in 1996. We have organized two annual general meetings of European organization. So face-to-face meeting was held in Helsinki 2012. And then last September, we organized the Zoom meeting. Of course, due to the pandemic, we couldn't have a face-to-face meeting, unfortunately. We have had also a little bit kind of local connections. So in Scandinavia or Nordic countries, it was actually the president of Norwegian Federation. She suggested 2007 to cooperation with Nordic countries, and our federation invited Nordic Federation's meeting in Turku 2008, and then it was decided to form a cooperation network, Kvinnliga Akademikers Nordiska Nätverk. That has I think that in this was before my time, so I'm not too familiar with this CAN work, what has done inside this network, but I know that in last years the cooperation of Nordic countries has changed to be cooperation of countries around the Baltic Sea. So current we have had meetings together with members of Finland, Lithuania, Sweden, Russia and Estonia. We organized the Baltic Sea Conference in 2019 related to gender equality in education and work, and also commitment to our common Baltic Sea. And the plan is to have next conference in Stockholm this autumn 22. So I'm hope that Beatrice can tell us today a little bit more about what they have planned for us. And then a little bit also about our local associations, international relationships history. So as Pauliina mentioned, we have 19 local associations currently in Finland. Most of the local ones have had quite little international contacts, but there have been at least some examples of active communications. So in Tampere Association, there were president, I think this was in 1980s, Anna-Maja Lindgren, who was very active visiting and international conferences, and she maintained and developed the connections also for Finnish, total Finnish Federation, but local Tampere Association too. Then in Salo, they have built a long and active contact with a Dutch association, and I think that their friendship started already in conference in late 70s. So that has had long history. Unfortunately, now Salo local branch has decided to close. So I'm not sure whether the people who have had this international contacts, whether they still have those as a personal life. Hopefully, yes. So that's a little bit our history, what we have done so far during these 100 years. Thank you.